Welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to check my feedback. Moment. Everyone. Okay. I want to make sure the sound is good. Welcome, you guys. Come on in. There's a lot has been happening. Lots going on in the neighborhood. Guys, I found my star seed origins. I found my star seed origin, guys. Yep. Just, we're going to get into that today. So I'm going to wait for a few of you guys to come in here. I'm not going to rush it because we're going to channel some because this is like a place that, it has not been explored. So we're going to explore that. I have some things that I did find online and some things that I did research. So this is what we're going to do. It's going to be so much fun. And I hope you guys find your star seed origin too. So let you guys come in here. I know I just pop up. I don't I don't ever say anything. I should start like scheduling these lives. I know it's a weird time because most people are not it's a weird time. People are probably still at work or, something like that. So, I'm just going to wait here. And I think I'm going to put my earphones in really quickly. Let's see. Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Guys, are you getting the notification? I hope so. I'm going to check. I'm going to check. I am going to check. Are you guys getting the notifications? Maybe this isn't working. Yep, they be doing that to me sometimes. So I don't even see it pop up on my feed. So it doesn't look like YouTube is giving out the notifications. You naughty, naughty YouTube. What's going on, YouTube? Come on, got to give out those notifications. Yeah. So I'll just wait. And if not, I'm going to actually stop this. I'm going to stop it and then yeah, I don't know, maybe do it tomorrow. No, maybe that's what they want me to do. Welcome. Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I'll just wait here. When you guys come in, you might have to fast forward like 5 minutes or so. I have I have a prophecy that I got about Beyonce. I need to come back on here. I got a lot of stuff. I just haven't had time to be on here as much, but yeah. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We'll just wait for a little while longer. Is anyone home? I can't actually see. I can't actually see that anyone's here. If you are, let me know. Put a like on the video when you come in. Hi, Sister Gail. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me okay before we start this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome in, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tahirah, Mother of the Ages. I am a supernatural quantum telepathic healer. I'm a psychic investigator, a psychic medium, ancestral psychic medium, and a channeler of the omniverse, guys. And what this means is I pull information, usually from the void. This is unexpressed consciousness that humanity will start to get acclimated to. So that's what that means. And guys, if you want to book a quantum telepathic hypnosis session, this is a quantum healing hypnosis. It is the most healing session where you can literally look at a past life, and it will help you understand where your blockages are in this life. It is so healing once you can bring up the event and understand why it had to happen. This is when your soul can truly move forward and you stop repeating those cycles, those karmic cycles, right? That you've been on. So just there'll be some links down below. And then you could also email instructions number 4 humanity at gmail.com. Hi. Okay, perfect. You can hear me. Hi, Sister Carolyn. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's been a few people that tell me they're not getting the notification, so I didn't even get it, to be honest with you. So there are some interesting things there, but I hope you guys are doing well. One second. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get the party started, shall we? Let's get the party started. And this is going to be, I'm going to try to condense this down because I'm a little long-winded, right? But I found my star seed origin. And to be honest with you, I wasn't looking for it. I hadn't asked for it. I was very comfortable with where I am on my journey. Um, and it just happened. And so I've just been resting a lot, um, healing a lot, um, lots of collective codes, right? So now the collective things that I'm templates that I'm healing, they're more galactic now. And so I've just needed some time and space to hold some space for that. And while I was doing that, it just kind of came through. So, last week we spoke about the ships that I had hovering over near my house, right? It happened two days in a row. And so I believe that these energies really helped me open up to the galactic part of myself. And so nothing is by accident or coincidence. That was supposed to happen. And I think that there was some frequency codes that I needed because I also was receiving lots of frequencies. And the Cosmic Bible does speak about this. Guys, if you do not have a Cosmic Bible, please pick one up on I was gonna say something else on Amazon. It's on Amazon.com. It's called The Great Expansion, a Cosmic Bible for the Ages, but the title is The Great Expansion, right? It details every single thing that is happening right now on our planet as to even why these you're seeing the ships in the sky. It actually does address that and what's happening. And I'll just tell you, it says here in the Great Expansion, the Cosmic Bible, that there's going to be a lot of reveals that happen, and some ancestors are coming back in their chariots, which are ships, right? There's a fine line between the galactics and the a lot of the people, right? And tribes and nations in the Bible. There's a very, very fine line. And to be honest, every day they're getting more and more interconnected. At least for me, they are. But essentially, Mother God explains that the reason why you may see a lot of ships in the sky is simply because some of the ancestors need to come back. be to hold us up during the time of great reveal. There will be a great reveal, things that will shock the world. So there's going to be reveals about, people, indigenous people, like I think I've been talking about on this channel. There'll be great reveals about religion. There'll be great reveals about, systems that we have in place. And so this is the very powerful year, the nine, right? And this is why they're here, because a lot of people have been coming in to this knowledge, right? And so they're here to support the energy, right? There's also other beings here, but I'm just letting you know as per what the Great Expansion states, right? So, guys, let's get right into it. There's kind of a lot to dig through simply because, this was not, it's not, Octurians and Palladians and all of the ones that the popular ones that we know. I had no idea what this is. And I think we're discovering something maybe for the first time together. So, what I had to do was I had to put some of the pieces together just simply with my conscious channeling and then just my awareness, just my state of consciousness. I had to kind of put some of these pieces together. So this happened a few nights ago. It was around 3 something in the morning. I was just, I had just seen another ship, right? It was far off in the distance, right? Um, and I was just I was just there, I wasn't trying. I was in and out of sleep. And all of a sudden, I felt a message coming through. And so I grabbed my recorder on my phone and I started to record the message, right? And so essentially what the message was, it said that, and it was referring to, because I saw an image of me and my family, but specifically my sister, right? um it was referring to our star origin, the origin of where we come from. We are all stars, right? We're all balls of energy. That's why they say energy cannot be, created nor destroyed. The stars in the sky, the organic stars in the sky, those are souls, right? Those are souls. Some of those are celestial bodies, star systems, etc. So as I was lying down, the message came through, came into my field of awareness, and I pressed record, and it said that we, referring to me and my sister, we are from the Star Council of ALUNA. Well, it actually said this first. We're from the star system of Assyrian. We fled from the Star Council of ALUNA. So ALUNA is our original origin. This is where our energetic signature first became into consciousness, right? Because we are all already there in the Akashic soul, but when it gets expressed by source, comes out of the void into light matter. This is where our journey began through the systems and planetary bodies, right? So it started in ALUNA, and I I dug and I got some information about it, and I did some initial more channeling, and I'm going to tell you guys of what is on ALUNA, right? So this is like a star council, right? But it appears that the council was, I think that's just what we called the essence of this place. And we're gonna get there. But the interesting thing is that's where my soul signature kind of became into consciousness, right? Into physicality, I would say. But something interesting happened. I had awareness also as I'm getting the message that around the age of 20, and I'm giving this in human age, right? I don't know what the age was there on ALUNA, but around the age of 20, something happened on ALUNA. It felt as if there was some sort of invasion or coercion, right? This was a very peaceful place. There was something that came to disrupt it. And what I saw was that I was married into an empire called the Assyrian star system. Now, this is not serious. We could think about the Assyrians as we know here. That is an actual place here. It's part of ancient Mesopotamia, the Assyrians, right? This was originally before the Assyrians were earthbound. They were galactic. And this is what I'm finding out. All of these things that appear to be earthbound, they were first galactic. The galactics and all of these different planetary and celestial bodies, war is something that has always happened. And sometimes these beings need to jump ship from a planet that is, you know, that is blowing up, that is written with war and strife. And so they find places to go. And this has always happened. So a lot of the times, this is how we actually get a lot of our races here, guys, because the thing about it is we're all kind of different species here. If you have a different blood type, then you are a different species, right? The O is a different species from the A, the, and the AB, right? And then the RH. These are all different species. We just have on human Earth suits. But if you were to chase, if you were to look into our origin, right? Our spiritual origin of where our initial spark became physical, you would see that we are technically different beings. So I want you guys to understand we do not originate on Earth. So the crazy part about this whole thing, which is it's kind of cool and crazy at the same time, is that we were always told to look at life through the eyes of religion, right? Through the eyes of, the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, even when we go back into the Gnostics text and all of those things. But as we see now, especially with, modern day Christianity, right? We're going to have to expand that. If you have, conscious eyes and ears, then a lot of the things in the Bible actually do sound very galactic when you take away the images that they gave to us. These things are galactic first. So I wanted to let you guys know that. So now I want us to expand right out of Earth for a while. Let's talk about pre-Earth and then we'll scale back down to Earth, right? Get it? So the Assyrians, guys, I'll tell you a little bit about them, but first I want to finish what happened on the Star Council of ALUNA. I had awareness that there's some sort of chaos that happened, and it felt as if there were some beings that were green, right? So these like green, I'm going to call them green aliens for the lack of a better term for them, but I saw them in my mind's eye. Somehow they colluded to make to create separation because in ALUNA, I don't want to say on ALUNA, but on ALUNA, but through ALUNA, there wasn't anything of such kind of nature. It was only nature, and I saw it in my mind's eye in the initial vision. It was known for its plush foliage, vegetation. It was imagine the Garden of Eden on steroids, right? And it was just a place that was full of vegetation. There wasn't any such thing as cutting down a tree or foliage to make space for anything. We didn't even have awareness of that. Everything was like whole and pure. And so I had awareness that there was some sort of green beings, extraterrestrials, and I believe that they could have formed from nature itself. You know how they have it's called the green man, I think. These are the nature spirits, and they actually do look green. I don't know if the level of consciousness they gained caused the division, because yes, guys, when we gain consciousness, more awareness, it can cause division between us and people that we love, right? Sometimes the ignorance is actual bliss, right? So it felt as if these things were birth of the foliage, of the land. And somehow there was a severing of the two consciousnesses there. That's the awareness that I got. So during that severing of the consciousnesses, I had awareness that I don't want to say I was sold, but I was forced to marry into the Assyrian star system, right? And I was around the age of 20. I'm giving Earth years here. I mean, I was young. I was seeing it in the image. So I would translate that to about 20 years old in Earth years, right? So this is how I've been disconnected from ALUNA pretty much since the beginning, right? And so I've been the incarnations I've been taking have been in vibration from the Assyrian star system. And so, what we have to understand is that just through normal wear and tear of lifetimes, we create, energy cords that keep us conjoined to people. This now brings us back as a collective together in another incarnation, right? We create not only the energetic cords, we create soul ties, we create soul tears, little micro tears in the soul that, are caused by, someone in our empire, right? This keeps us coming back. So essentially, the incarnations that I have all been on the Assyrian timeline. And I speak of Assyrian as, yes, ancient Mesopotamia, but we're talking before the ancient Mesopotamians were actually earthbound, right? So this is actually a star system, a planetary body, the Assyrian star system. And now the conscious channeling is kicking in. I'm going to tell you where the Assyrian star council or star system comes from, right? And so the Assyrian star system is originally part of the Lyrians or Lyrans, right? So I've been gaining awareness on this, where there's a lot of beings that come from that particular origin, right? And also, too, Source did confirm to me that the tribe of Judah and is part of the Lyrians. So the tribe of Judah is, is the tribe that Yahuda, Jesus comes from. And that is conjoined to the Lyrians. So when the Lyrians, actually, there's been 3 people I've done past life regressions with. There may have even been 4 or 5, but they all give an account of the event that happened on Lyra that actually destroyed the planet, right? And so they did have to go to different places. So this is how we get other beings here. We're not all the same. We just have on the earth suit. But if you strip it down and you trace back our origins, we come from different places, right? So the Assyrian star system essentially comes from originally the Lyrans, which is one, if not the oldest star race, right? And so it's like I always say, there's an origin, and then there is, what does source call it? The reverberation of. But it's very interesting as I feel into both of the ALUNA and the Lyrians, because my origin didn't start with the Lyrians. My origin started on ALUNA, the council, or it was this celestial body of like plush vegetation, and it just being rooted in, see, we nature wasn't called nature back then. It was deeper than that. It was sentient. We revered it as wise counsel. It was communicative. That's that's the origin, right? And so it's very interesting that it feels as if this actually predates the Lyrians, even though if you were to research, the Lyrians would technically be considered the oldest race. But this is where a lot of people's star origin starts, and then they have the reverberation or the incarnations or the fragmentations of that same origin. But I have almost two origins. I have one of ALUNA, and then I have the one I was married into. So technically, the Assyrian star system is not my true origin. And that, I think that's important. I think source is letting me know that that's important. So I have taken a lot of incarnations with these people. It's probably why I pick up on, a lot of these in my session, like the Ishtars of the world, and all of that, because these are all kind of birthed from that Assyrian star system that I was married into kind of forcefully. So, in some sort of way, I think that I've been trying to get back to my origin this whole time. Because sometimes I'm like, why do I even do the things I do? Why do I like have to put together the pieces? Why do I have all these source codes? Why do I want to get to the bottom of who's causing the conflict, on Earth and in the galactic? Why? I think I found, what do I call it? The event, right? The event is that lifetime or that thing that happened that sets you on a particular path and journey. And so the event that my soul needed to look into was when I was existing in pure consciousness on or in ALUNA. And then there was a separation of the consciousness there. And I was forcefully married into another star system. And I had been trying to get myself back since the beginning. And my star system predates the Lyrians. And so now we're going to explore a little bit more about ALUNA. And then we're going to hop back over to the Assyrian star system. First of all, I will say this. I saw ships in the sky in my mind's eye. So what the Assyrian ship looked like, it looked like a pyramid made from like sand and dirt, very intricate patterns. It looked like a ship in the sky, but it was made out of like something you would make a pyramid out of. That's what it looked like. And so a lot of these pyramids, guys, are like, a play off of our starships. I'm not calling them spaceships, they're called starships, right? And so, even as ancient Mesopotamia, modern day Iraq, the way that that even looks was a play off of the Assyrian star system, which, had a lot of sand, a lot of desert like, um, you know, environment. That's what it looked like, right? And so now I want to explore more about the ALUNA Star Council, guys. So some of the research and additional channeling that I found. So I know it's a lot. You guys, they're still there with me. It's a lot. 1 second. Okay. I'm gonna kind of go over this. I'll probably share this. Maybe I should share this so you guys can see it. Okay. Yes, I will share this with you guys. 1 second. Okay. Guys, is it glitchy? I feel like it's glitchy. It's always when I got something good to say, right? All right. So, this is more information I found out about ALUNA because I couldn't, find anything about ALUNA, but this is kind of what source said. You see all the green energy? This is kind of what ALUNA looks like. The foliage is most of the environment, right? And the background of the sky is more like a maroon color. And there's specks and like shooting lights of gold. That's what it kind of looked like. But the green kind of represents the energy of all of the foliage and vegetation. This is what I saw. The people there were, that's the thing. We don't look different from Earthlings, guys. A lot of, you'll be surprised when we finally do, you know, get more disclosure and when certain extraterrestrial races are kind of mixed into Earth, you'll be surprised that they're gonna look a lot like our Earth suit. This is kind of what I'm saying. The scary ones are not going to be coming. It's going to be the ones that they look a little different, but they'll be able to kind of fit in, right? Because people will be scared if they look, totally, you know, totally different, right? People be scared about that. So, oh my God, it feels like it's glitching. Let me know if it's glitching. I'm going to keep going. Okay, so this is the Luna Star Council. So I had to put these together. So I did find this ALUNA, right, in the Koji cosmology. And there's actually some people, the Koji people, they're an ancient indigenous people, and they translate ALUNA to mind, spirit world, or dream of the great mother. So this, you guys know, I always talk about the Great Mother and Mother God. So this is definitely resonating, with the research that I found. And so it represents the unseen living consciousness that underpins all reality. Very cool. It's considered primordial substance of creation. What do I always talk about? I always talk about the substance of life. There's a substance of life on every dimension and every planet. I always talk about that. So that's another check mark that this is like, this is kind of, feeling like it's right on point, right? So the Koji believed everything that occurs in our physical world is a manifestation of events in ALUNA. Their message emphasizes that harming Earth equates to harming ALUNA, which connects all life. So this is a little bit about ALUNA. And so there is an indigenous group of people who actually do revere ALUNA. So I thought that was very cool that I could find that out, the Koji people. There was actually a film called ALUNA, right? A documentary film. And I want to read kind of what it's about. because and the reason why I'm going over this is because this is not something that's known. Everyone knows about the Palladians and all of the rest, but no one we don't know about ALUNA. So if I bring awareness to it and to the Assyrian star system, then maybe this will spark more people to remember their star origins. Some of our star origins are much older than those other extraterrestrial or galactic groups or star groups, right? And so there's a movie about it. Okay, so it says in this feature, the Koji come forward again, revealing their profound ecological knowledge and spiritual science. Sound familiar? Um, Visually representing on Earth's interconnectedness, for instance, by stretching 400 kilometers golden thread across the landscape's environment. Okay, that's that. Okay. The Koji aim to share tangible experiential demonstrations of the spiritual ecological systems they preserve, blending indigenous wisdom with modern environment. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, let's get into this. ALUNA as a celestial body or rim. So we now know where this kind of comes from. It's a play off of the Koji cosmology, but now we're going to go outward and explore it as a celestial body or even a realm, right? So ALUNA is the invisible matrix of creation, the dream or thought of the Great Mother, which I talk about pretty much every day. I call her Mother God. Some mystics and Starseed teachings expand this, describing ALUNA most like a celestial body or a higher dimensional Earth, a parallel realm where the templates of nature exist in their pure, undisrupted form. What did I say I saw? I saw a space where nature was everything. Nature was communicating with us. It was part of our family, right? So now that checks another box, you know. This often envisioned as lush, fertile land overflowing with vegetation, just like I said, rivers of light and crystalline mountains, a garden of origin where all blueprints are held. So this is probably why I'm into the blueprint origin, into the one Akashic soul, and into the energy signatures. So this is probably where I get it from. Probably get it from ALUNA. So the ALUNA Council describes a group of celestial beings, guardians, or elders who maintain harmony of the realm. They are sometimes seen as star elders, elemental guardians, spirits of rivers, trees, mountains, right? Interdimensional teachers guiding humanity back into balance with Earth by reminding us of the origin of ALUNA, right? Their role is not unlike the Great White Brotherhood, Starseed Councils of Light and Galactic Channeling. They function as custodians of the divine order of life. This all makes so much sense in alignment with everything that I've been talking about on this channel. So the vegetation and fertility symbolism. So the emphasis on the vegetation in ALUNA, abundant green life, points to ALUNA as an energetic double of Earth's biosphere, guys. So it is an energetic double. So another copy of Earth's biosphere. So this is where we get the Earth's biosphere. It comes from ALUNA, right? Every tree is a cosmic tree. A fractal of the tree of life. Rivers are currents of consciousness carrying wisdom from source. Planets and flowers glow with luminescent light codes. What do I always talk about light codes, guys? Representing healing and regeneration. Those who visit ALUNA in vision dreams or meditation often report feeling wholeness, nurturing, and homecoming. Wow, this is This is I'm reading all of this back for the first time, really, with you guys. I just kind of scanned through it before. So the purpose of ALUNA Council: preserve the primordial blueprints, safeguard the original patterns of life before distortion. This is very powerful. So there is a place that has our original blueprints. Like I always say, you are always safe and you are always whole. It's just that you don't remember your origin. So I love that ALUNA is coming into the field of awareness to safeguard our original patterns, our templates, really, before the distortion. So what this means is honestly before creation. So ALUNA has blueprints before creation. It holds blueprints that creation was formed and birthed from. The moment someone steps in creation, this I know, then there is a distortion because there is a fragmentation of the light in order to be fractal. In order to have human or physical experience, you must become fractaled, right? So ALUNA is before creation. This is beautiful. Communicate with sensitive souls. So shamans, mystics, and starseeds may receive visions of ALUNA or its counsel when seeking guidance. Restore balance of the earth. Send energy and knowledge through visionaries to help humanity heal ecosystems, respect sacred land, and realign with the great cosmic order. Right? Beautiful, beautiful. And it's like checking off everything that I talk about and that, I believe that I stand for on this channel, right? Okay, so that's ALUNA, guys. That is the Star Council of ALUNA. So essentially this is before creation. If you think about it, would we not have to have some sort of council of elders before we open ourselves up to this big game that we're about to play, the Matrix games? We would need to have some sort of order, some sort of blueprint, some sort of like switch where if the game gets out of control, we would need to have the codes to put everything back on track. So there are codes to put everything back on track. And I believe that ALUNA carries those codes. And I'm so happy to, you know, had this come into my field of awareness. This is very, very, very beautiful. Hi, welcome in. Guys, please let me know if you can still hear me because it feels like things are glitching. And I don't know. At this point, we can only wonder why that is. So now that I've told you guys about ALUNA, this is where my star origin comes from. Now I need to talk about the star count. Not That's where my star council is ALUNA. Then now I need to talk about the Assyrian star system because I was forcefully married into this star system, the Assyrian star system, right? And then this is how the Assyrian star system actually came down here on Earth. Actually, we all come down through war and famine and fighting over resources in different spheres, right? Then we just keep going to other planets or realms, that we feel that we can survive on, right? So now let us talk about the Assyrian star system. All right, let me switch gears here. I'm going to share again with you guys. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. So, guys, this is the Assyrian star system. this is what I felt like it kind of, the emperors kind of looked like. These were the colors I was guided to. It almost feels like these people were a deep, dark. It almost like it feels like their skin was either purple or so dark that it had a purple hue to it, which is probably the latter, right? So dark that it had a purple hue to it. And they had wings. The Assyrian Star Council. So we have the Assyrians, right, of ancient Mesopotamia, as I'm talking about it right now, is before the empire came down to earth. This Assyrian Star Council, I believe that they were part of a lot of the technology that went behind building of the pyramids, right? So let's get into who the Assyrians are here on earth, right? So we know that they were ancient Mesopotamians, right? And so this would be modern day Iraq, Syria, Turkey, right? They're known for their powerful empire, advanced agriculture, astrology, connection to gods like Ashur, Ishtar, and Marduk, right? And I think Marduk was one of the gods of Babylon, right? So now you can see the family that I married into. And this is why I always, um, you guys know I always catch a lot of these ancient Egyptian or ancient Mesopotamian gods doing bad things to humanity, and I call them out on it. And so now I understand, because it's like I'm a little informant, right? I was kind of forcefully brought into the family, and so I guess I had eyes and ears on them this whole time. So that's probably why I remember, such things, right? And so from spiritual star seed perspective, some teachings link the Assyrians. So they're essentially the Sumerians, right? So the Assyrians are essentially the Sumerians, and it says the Babylonians, which which really come from the stars. They are galactic, galactic planetary systems, right? So there's an Anunnaki connection. So it says the Anunnaki connection is many metaphysical traditions say that the Assyrians inherited knowledge from Sumeria, including myths. They call it myths, right? But we know it's not. Of the Anunnaki, star being said to come from the system of Nibiru or Orion. That I happen to know is true. Okay. So then it says the lineage. Some channels claim that those with strong resonance to Assyrian culture, symbols, or language may actually be star seeds carrying imprints of ancient time when humanity was in direct contact with sky gods. Okay. Um, and it talks about sacred knowledge of astronomy and astrology, and it talks about building what ziggurats aligned with the heavens spiritually. This sometimes is interpreted as them preserving star maps and codes. So once again, we have the codes, and I happen to know that the ancient Mesopotamians, they actually did the original star mapping for the earth, right? This came up in one of my sessions. A lot of them did the star mapping for the sun, the placements of the sun, and different stars, right? Different constellations. These things had to be placed, guys, whether they were placed, but they had to have coordinates, right? Because we were always dealing with technology. These ancient civilizations like the Sumerians, or AKA, the Assyrians, they had ancient knowledge, they had technology. So if we see something like people say Jesus is coming back and all of that, it would very much have to look like spaceships and galactic technology. So it's time to expand, because there wouldn't be any way for us to visualize the old school, you know Jesus actually returning. There would have to be a form of technology to even allow that. And I know, we could talk about technology as being bad, but our spiritual technology is inside of us. So even if we were to see God on the clouds, just know that he, she, we have our spiritual technology to be able to do that, to be able to teleport, to be able to astral project. That's what this is. All of those things that the religious people tell you is bad, that is the only way they're going to see their God, through sight, through the psychic senses, through the teleportation. God can teleport, right? Through the astral projection, projecting part of its consciousness here. So this is where we got to get to. We got to start to expand in that way, right? So that we don't miss anything, right? That's coming. And so then we got the duality of power. The Assyria is known as fierce military, and suggests that people tied to the Assyrian current may carry karmic themes of power, conquest, and healing ancestral wounds of empire. And this resonates because what have I been doing this whole time? I've been healing ancestral wounds of this empire, even though I was forcefully married into it. But guys, those are contracts. Anytime you take a marriage contract, you pledge allegiance to something, you sign your name on a contract. I don't care if it's um a membership to the library. Those things hold weight. That's what cosmic law does. We had contracts in the stars. Those came from the stars. These are energetic agreements that tie you to that thing that you went under contract with. So this makes a lot of sense of why I would be trying to heal these ancestral wounds, even though I was forcefully married into the Assyrian star system, which was a very powerful. And in regards, my soul feels lucky because even though the division of my ALUNA council, or celestial body, even though that kind of the consciousness split there, I do feel lucky to have been brought into such an empire. My soul can feel it. There was a lot of hardship, yes, but in a way, um it feels as if I never truly had to struggle. And in a sense, I'm not saying there wasn't hard lifetimes, but in some sort of sense, it's a essence. I always had spiritual rank, is what I'm saying. That's what I truly, truly, truly feel, which that is the true currency that I think that we're all tapping back into, right? And so the Assyrian as a star race, to so part of the Assyrians is to bridge a bridge between ancient human civilizations and star races like the Anunnaki and Orion beings, and possibly the Surians, right? Surians? Okay. Since Mesopotamian gods often were said to come from the waters of the heavens. What do I always talk about? I always talk about the waters, right? So the waters of the heavens, these would be the waters above the firmament. So you know how they said no one has truly been outer space because there's a firmament, that the true heaven. That's why I keep saying that this heaven that people talk about, people are not getting to the real heaven. It is above the firmament. And when we look up at the sky, it's like technically the bottom of the ocean, of the waters above, right? We're underwater right now. We don't even know. That's what I'm saying. So the Assyrian Empire, um, so they had spiritual and cosmic knowledge from the older Sumerians, which, as we know, are, from the stars, are extraterrestrial races. Their myths and rituals were filled with references of sky gods, right? And in this instance, they're calling sky gods Anunnaki, celestial journey, but there's other sky gods that are not just Anunnaki. Remember how I told you guys I discovered how the Anunnaki got involved in our creation of this current humanity? Because there's been multiple different versions of humanity, right? They got the original code from the Lyrians, the Lyrans. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Lyrians or Lyrans. That's where it came from. The Anunnaki was in contract with the Lyrians. I think when the Lyrians' place was getting blown up, I think they made some sort of side deal to reseed the Lyrian genealogy into another place, aka Earth. And so this is truly, it's not that the Anunnaki necessarily in the beginning were the ones slicing the DNA. They actually bought the codes from the Lyrians because the Lyrians went belly up because of war. They had to sell stuff off. So what did they give? They gave up the blueprints that they had to their race. They wanted to survive some sort of way. And quite possibly, if we were to chase anyone's star genealogy back, it would go back in some capacity, and I'm talking about through different past lives, to the Lyrans or Lyrians from Lyra. So this is how the Anunnaki got those blueprints. They got those templates. And now they were able to, after time, have that to continue to build upon that. And there was a slicing of the DNA, but the originally it came from Lyra, from the Lyrians. Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear, right? And this is probably why, maybe that's why the Anunnaki ships came. It makes sense because I'm in a vibrational match, and I was with my sister. My sister also got placed in the Assyrian as well. Maybe that's why we were both there, because we are a vibrational match to it through being married off into this empire, right? So, oh, interesting. Yeah. So let's talk about the lessons in karmic patterns. So the Assyrian Empire is vast, and they had a conquest to and for dominance. That's what they wanted. They wanted to dominate, right? And so these Starseed lineage, right, may carry karmic memories of abuse, of power, right? Warfare, hierarchy, hierarchical control. Their sole lessons is to transform authority into stewardship, right? And it's very interesting that as Mother of the Ages, one of my jobs is to help humanity close out karmic cycles. So this actually does resonate. In order for me to be able to help with that, I would have had to experience that. And so essentially, we are the sins of our forefathers. So you know how they talk about the ancestral curse that, oh, you may have gotten from grandma or grandpa. Well, this goes back into even the empires, even if you were married into it, even if you were taken as a slave. These are energetic cords and contracts that we take. And so part of my job has been undoing the karmic ties to the Assyria star system. I understand my work more as Mother of the Ages. What I've been unraveling is this forced marriage. And essentially, since my origin, since I became into physicality, I've been living in captivity, even though the captivity has been good, right? And I know that sounds strange. I have awareness that I could have gotten a lot worse. You know, my captivity brought me to this point. So I am thankful for it, right? But I've been on a quest to undo that, to go home. That's what I'm understanding about my journey. And it's like everyone that comes into my sphere of consciousness, conscious awareness, are pieces of the puzzle, and they actually either hold codes that are unhealed. But after I heal them, we kind of explore them. We get a sequence of events. There's codes in there that I need to plug into what the source equation for growth and expansion and for karmic retribution. I think on some level, my soul has always had this karmic relationship with the Assyrian Empire because I was taken unlawfully, unwillingly. And essentially, my spark has been on a timeline which I was not originally birthed from. And in this moment, I always knew there was something special about you, Tahirah. I just always, like, as a child, I just knew. I don't know. I was very shy and all of that, but I felt special. I couldn't explain it, but I just felt special. And I used to say this to myself. I was like, this Tahirah has been the one of the best lifetimes that I've had. And I honestly, I can say that because I don't even know if I would be, who else would put these codes together? Maybe the energies are supporting, or obviously supporting this mission, but I was crazy enough, Tahirah was crazy enough to go down this path. And wow, where it's led me is back to my original star origin, but also to it led me to the event, the event that happened that tethered my soul from its original vibration. And now I can work to go back to ALUNA, which ALUNA is to a state of consciousness. It's a state of purity. It's a state of growing with all things, not growing, away from it. So we grew with nature. We communicated, we revered the trees and even every blade of grass and vegetation as guidance. We didn't understand anything about cutting anything down. We didn't understand that. So the spirit of ALUNA must come back. ALUNA must come back because this is where we hold the blueprints before the distortion. ALUNA is before creation. And when we can go beyond creation, beyond the matrices, we can see clearly. And we can see that one begets the next, starting from the star race of the Lyrians, right? Which truly is what we're looking at, is the tribe of Judah, the resilience of the tribe of Judah that has always survived. The Lyrians have survived, and they've morphed, and their armies have literally fought and taken over other planetary bodies. And then you know, then the Assyrian Empire, and then the ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt Empire. Like, the Judah has always been the king of the jungle, lion. So when we talk about it, and it's interesting. So when the Lionsgate portal was going on, I didn't, that was not to say all of it was false, but some of it I had to put a wall here, because no, there was something bigger. And as everyone, oh, just, it's time to manifest, it's a portal opening. No, this is what it was for. And it brought me this awareness. It brought me back to the conscious state of ALUNA, back to the origin of most of all of humanity, which the Lyrians, the Lyrans, is nothing more than Judah, is nothing more than Yahudah. Yahudah, the one we call Jesus, Yeshua, Jesus. This is where it's brought us back to. And this is why I love, see, a lot of people want to prove the Bible within the Bible. You can't do that. And when I set out on this quest, something said, if the Bible is real, I have to be able to prove it outside of itself. That only made sense to me. You can't prove it within it. You have to go outside of it. It should still be true outside. When something is true, the frequency, the vibration of it lingers. It has an energy of truth. You can feel the energy of a lie. You can feel the energy of low self esteem, low concept. You can feel the energy, the vibration of someone who fully accepts themselves. These are the energy signatures that I always read, the ability to walk into a room and just to divide the energy, just to understand what people are transiting through, right? And all of that came from ALUNA because we had the codes, the templates, and the blueprint before creation. The Lyrians, when Yeshua Jesus channeling, when Yeshua Jesus started his journey on Lyra, he also too, like me, also too, almost an informant, taking up space within physicality to imprint himself into the code that has already chosen to be expressed in creation. So he came and he procreated. Yes. And this is how we got the genes of the gods, which we got to take the power. See, we're stripping away power from Anunnaki. And I'm not saying that some of them are not benevolent, but what I'm saying is I'm finding out where this came from. We're reaching higher now because ALUNA allows us to do that, allows us to tap into source codes. We're reaching higher. And what we're saying is that some of us are informants from source. Some of us are beyond creation, decided to step into physicality to leave part of the original blueprint as a code of remembrance to now regenerate that throughout the bloodlines, throughout the star races. And so this is how we always understood we would never be able to, source would never ever be able to be dethroned because us, like Yeshua, Jesus, and myself on ALUNA, and people like yourself, we are put into these places almost as an informant for source is what I'm getting. Some of you are in families right now. You're an informant. You're getting access to all of the codes of that bloodline to course correct it and cleanse it. But this is how we seated ourselves here. So no matter how much slicing that would happen, the original source codes would always be preserved because they are beyond creation. They are the blueprint. Thank you. So now we find the origin of Yeshua Jesus within the cosmos. And before the Lyrians, Yeshua Jesus was what? Part of the light that governs source. Because there is a light that governs source, which is the checks and balances of the universe. What did they do in The Lion King when the dad, the father, held the son up high above his head? This is how source reveres her children, holds us high above her head. So when I see the light that governs source, Yeshua Jesus emanated from that light, which was revered and held high by source. Source knew that the light that keeps the balances of the entire omniverse would do great work down here in creation. I just saw a heart. Thank you, source. And so we get the origin of physicality of the Judah, of the lion. The mighty lion is the king of the jungle. And the mighty lion is still, the code is still within us now. And so when we have activations, spiritual activations, when we have these times of remembrance, these deja vus, right? We can connect back with the original blueprint. And as we know, Judah wins in the end, because when we clean up all of the karmic residue and we remove all of the things that the Judah has been, it hasn't just been the curses that happened to Judah on this planet. It's been the curses that kept happening to Judah since the Lyrians on Lyra, wanting too much power, wanting too much control, wanting to not keep cosmic law in order. So this is why every time Judah gets itself in these situations where it is lowered in frequency until it can learn. But I'm being told right now from source is that the reason why Judah has to fall in every single, not lifetime, but incarnation of different beings. The reason why is because the imprint of Yeshua Jesus must be fully expressed. And how do we get the imprints? Through usually emotional hardship. We get those imprints through epigenetics. Our genes get activated. The environment will activate certain genes. This is what I'm hearing. This is why the tribe of Judah, every time they go to a different planetary body, they fall. They get back into the curses simply because the imprint needs to be expressed for remembrance. This is how the Christ energy, the Yahuda, Jesus energy, is always with us. So they fall in frequency. Their environments become very hard. And then now epigenetics kicks in and allows the code of Yahuda, Yeshua Jesus, to be expressed within the genes. And this is how he has survived throughout the ages. And I'm very I'm very honored to bring this message, and that last channeling, that last bit, I think is what we came here for. Sorry, I had to get through all of the rigmarole before we got here, but we finally got here, and we can access the energy of ALUNA when we want a fresh start and a reset, because there wasn't any separation there. There wasn't, all it had was blueprints and templates. There wasn't any knowledge of division at all. Just the interconnectedness of all things. Wow. That's the message. That's the beautiful message. I'm going to go to the chat here. Well said. Thank you. Thank you, Zara L. Law of correspondence. Zuna L says, you've done great work connecting the 12 houses of Lyra and the 12 tribes of Israel. Yes, this is what Source said. Hi. Hi, Sister Sonia. Welcome in. Nice to see you. Yep. The Lyran house that is connected to Judah. Oh, it's called the house of Ashariel. Wow. This is interesting. There's a lot of letters in my name that has in it. So it's very interesting. Carolyn says very interesting. Yeah, guys, this is where we are now. Everything's getting galactic. The energy definitely has shifted with the cosmic time clock. You know, the cosmic time clock has brought us a new level of awareness. And I can't wait to see what happens. next year when we start over at 1. Golden Lions, yes. And you guys, so years ago when I all of my channeling abilities were starting to come through really, really a lot, I looked on my like I was looking at my wall and I saw a face of a lion and it just started to smile. And I knew that that was representing of Yahuda, Yeshua Jesus. That's another way to say it. That's another word that goes by Yahuda, which actually makes a lot of sense for Judah. So this remembrance was I was always gonna come to this point at some point. I was always gonna get here. I didn't know a lot. Some of this just came through channeling some of this stuff, but just had to put the pieces together for the full story to make sense, and now there's more clarity surrounding this. I am warrior. Hello, Monica. Hi. Naturu Mars. Hi. Well, guys, I think that's all I really want to say. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this vibration. And I love you guys so much. The birds, the bees, and yes, all of the beautiful trees on ALUNA. They all love you too. Love is the way, forgiveness, it is the key. And truth is the light that governs source. And it will always, always guide us home. Be well. Be well, guys.